Hello and welcome to the Berkcast, the How to Train Dragon podcast. I'm your host, HC, and with me is...
Wolf.
And sadly, Rash is not here with us today. He's sick. Get well soon, buddy. But the show must go on, I think. So today we're doing another fun episode before we go back to overanalyzing stuff because we're a bunch of How to Train Dragon nerds. And so what we're doing today is each one of us have chosen a movie, a TV series, a book, and a video game, and we are trying to cast the How to Train Dragon characters in as the characters of those specific medias. So, Wolf, do you want to start?
Oh boy, giving me the hard one. Yeah, sure, why not? What topic do you want to start off with?
Well, How to Train Dragon was, you know what? How to Train Dragon became was a book, then became a movie, then became a TV show, and then a game, I think.
If you want to start off with book, you're going to have to go first, my friend. I didn't get one this week. Unfortunately, It was a very hectic week for me.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm cheating. I can start with the show. And skip one or two.
Okay, you know what? Let me just do the book quickly because it's the one I chose the least from. So let me do the book first. So the book series I've chosen to cast How to Train Dragon characters in is the Night School series by, let me see her name for a second, C.J. Doherty. That's her name. And if you haven't read those books, go and read them right now. Trust me, you'll thank me later. But to those of you who didn't watch the book, watch the book. Yeah, watch it. You went to a bookstore and you just look at it.
Hey, if it works for you.
You know, watch the book is like totally the definition of judging a book by its cover. Not going to think of it. But yeah, anyway, to those of you who haven't read the books, just a brief summary. Night School is about a 17-year-old girl called Ellie Sheridan, who's been expelled from her school for the third time, and her parents decide to send her to this boarding school, which she at first finds really what? Okay, sorry, just something happened here. Okay, so her parents send her to this boarding school, which apparently at first she doesn't really think highly of, but later on she finds out that there might be more to it than just another school she goes on, and at the end of the day also finds out stuff about herself. And I won't say any more than that because I will spoil the plot. But anyway, in terms of casting, ironically enough, I wouldn't cast Hiccup as the main girl. I won't cast Hiccup as Ellie. I will, and just to make sure we're clear, a few ground rules before we start this actually. One, we don't have to cast boys as boy characters, and we don't have to cast girls as female characters. It doesn't matter. The thing that matters the most is the plot. Mm-hmm. Is the characters themselves and personalities and stuff. Second of all, shippings don't really matter. Just because Hiccup and Astrid are the main ship of How to Train Dragon, it doesn't mean that the characters we are casting them as have to be ships as well.
Mm-hmm. To put it simply, we're focusing on personalities here and how these personalities are similar to each other.
Yes,
and just saying,
exactly.
This is what we find when we see and read or hear about this particular character. It puts us in the mind of this How to Train Your Dragon character, and this is why.
Yes, exactly. So, as for Ellie Sheridan, the main character in Night School, I would cast Astrid as her, mostly because they are both those headstrong headstrong girls they do once they think it's right, and nothing will stop them from achieving their goal at the end of the day. And just those strong characters who will stop at nothing to achieve their goal. That's like the main reason. I can think of a few more similarities, but that's pretty much it. Now, even though I said shippings don't really matter here, I will cast Hiccup as one of Ellie's love interests, just to make this clear. Night School is one of those series that has a love triangle in them, but I know I'm going to say it. It's going to sound really weird, but I actually like the love triangle in Night School. The guy that loads love triangles with all of his heart, likes. It just goes to show how great those books are. But I will cast Hiccup as one of Ali's love interests, Carter West, mainly because he has this kind of a leadership quality to him, but then again, he's not all that popular in the school. So he's kind of he's there, and he knows how to take charge and handle certain situations that the other characters might not know how to take care of. So, and he's also very sarcastic, so that's obviously puts him in the same level as Hiccup. Yeah, that's going to be a recurring thing, by the way. If the character is sarcastic, he's most likely going to be Hiccup. Most likely. Anyway, where else? What about this? Okay. Fishlegs will most likely be Rachel, one of Ellie's best friends. Simple reason. He's the information nerd. She's the library nerd. Need I say more? I think I had another thing. I will probably put Snotlout as Ellie's other love interest, Sylvan. What was his name? Last name? Sylvan. Just because, he's overall a good person and he's overall one of the good guys, but he does make a few decisions that sometimes put him in the wrong for other characters and the readers. So that seems like the perfect fit for me. And I think I will put Gaber as the headmistress of the school, Isabel. And the reason I'll do that is because Isabel is kind of a motherly figure to Ellie, like Gaber is a fatherly figure to Hiccup, even though he's not his dad. So these are the casting choices I came up with for Night School regarding the How to Train Dragon characters.
That headmistress role actually works really well too, since Gaber is very much a teacher to pretty much all of the gang. In some way, shape, or form. So she's also teaching them English in the school itself, so it fits. Anyway, so you don't have a book, so next category is movies. Do you have a movie? No, I told you. I tried to our audience. Again, like I said, my week's been very hectic for different reasons, but I did look at a movie. The movie I wanted to do, to let you guys know, was The Secret of Nim. I really enjoy that movie personally, but aside from that, I wanted to kind of go into it and look at the characters and see about different similarities and personalities and stuff of that nature. But the more I looked at it, the more I was like, well, there's this small part of this character that works, but the rest of the characters are vastly different, and there's too many, I can kind of see this kind of works. I can kind of look at this small part of their personality and say, yeah, this is the same, but overall the characters are just too different, and I just don't think it would work as well.
I just came up with casting for it, and it's not Valka as Mrs. Brisby, like I just told you before we recorded. It's not that. And don't you see Mildew as the shrew?
Yeah, he very could. Mildew, yeah, I guess he could fill that role. Yeah.
You see, we already found one.
Oh, there's one.
We'll come back.
It's probably the only one.
Back. Yeah. And Sidat Sven will be Timmy.
Yeah. Sure.
There you go. We're starting to fill it up. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go. Let's do this. Yeah, and yeah, Drago will be, what is his name? Jenner?
Jenner. Yeah. Yeah, that is actually one that could work. Jenner as Drago could actually work simply because they're both very unique.
And Drago will be his psychic who later switches to the good side. Wow, what was his name?
I think his name was John. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've last seen that movie, if I'm honest with you. But Jenner as linking Drago and Jenner actually works really well because they're both in their own way opposed to change.
Yeah, if fan fiction writers get on it, it will be awesome. I would read the hell out of this if someone writes it. But yeah, you know what? So let's skip the movie for a second because I just talked about it. So you chose a game and a TV series, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So start with the TV series.
The TV series. Oh. I chose Ruby, even though this one may not work too well.
What
I chose Ruby, RWBY. It's a web series, so you can watch it online. Okay. It was created by Rooster Teeth, a very fun web series that is vastly different from How to Train Your Dragon, but it's enjoyable. It's a lot of fun, and I definitely recommend it. So looking at some of the different... Yeah,
Justin, can you just give me a summary because I
summary.
Watch the show. Like, what's it about?
Do you like? It's very much a blend of, if you've seen different animes, it's definitely kind of satirizing yet to be kind of a love letter to that as well. Considering the people who created it, it's American based. The people who've created it are based in America, so a little bit of a love letter to different animes, but also a satirization of them as well. But also
I'm not much of an anime guy. Like maybe I watch 4 animes from beginning to end, and even
that's fine.
One of them is Attack on Titan, which had a second season, which I can't find a way to watch for the life of me.
Well, this show is.
But yeah, so Ruby, it's like a show about anime.
Yeah, and it also uses a lot of references to different fairy tales and some mythology as well. Oh. Like if you see the main character and basically her image, I know exactly who you will immediately think of.
Red Riding Hood. I'm googling it right now as you go along.
I'm curious to see.
I'm googling this.
But it's basically a show about these characters fighting creatures of Grimm, and yes, that's Grimm spelled Grimm. Reference to the Grimm brothers, who created a lot of these fairy tales.
One that sounds cool too. When I wrote Ruby, it brought me to Pokemon Ruby for some reason.
Type RWBY. That's the name of the show.
Okay. Okay, so like there are 4 girls. Is that it?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, so the main girl is the one with the white dress or the one with the cat-ish hairpiece and hair?
No.
What is it? Okay. Okay, so who's the main character? What am I looking at? Because
the main character would be the girl wearing the red hood.
The red hood. Okay, and she has an overall black dress?
Yes.
Okay. So what do I need to think of when I see her?
I mean, I've already gave you a great hint.
You already gave me a great hint. You know what? I don't see it. What is it supposed to be?
Little Red Riding Hood.
Oh. I feel like such a stupid person that I didn't get it. Whoa.
The blonde girl is a reference to Goldilocks. And if you knew the name of the girl with the bow, go ahead.
You said Goldilocks.
Yep.
Wasn't Rapunzel a Grimm story, a Grimm Brothers story as well? So
it was, but she's definitely
that connected.
It's not that character.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Simply because of her introduction and how they introduce her, she's definitely not Rapunzel. Definitely more Goldilocks in that regard. But looking at the show itself, it's about these 4 characters training to become hunters and huntresses within their world because they're trying to fight the creatures of Grimm, basically, who want to destroy and kill humanity. It's simply pretty much that.
Yeah,
Again, a fun show. The kind of gist of this show is, and another kind of, if you've heard of the show or seen the show and you know about it, I can't not reference the fact that the catchphrase of the show is, "It's also a gun." Because everything in this show is a weapon, and those weapons also have guns attached to them. In reference, the main character, Ruby, wields a scythe. That is also a 50 caliber sniper rifle. I kid you not. Another character has...
Okay, I need to watch this as soon as we finish recording.
To give you...
This sounds
much
amazing.
Further on, we meet another character who uses a trumpet as a weapon.
A trumpet, okay.
Okay. Like I said, an extremely fun show.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so give me your castings before this becomes
Looking at
weird.
The characters in this show, all right, ladies and gentlemen, this is no longer the Berkcast, this is now the Rubycast.
No, it's not.
Looking at...
If it is, I'm quitting.
I would love it if it was.
I have no idea.
I would enjoy that. But looking at the characters in this show, I would set Hiccup. I would say personality-wise, and looking at how they are similar, Hiccup is similar to some ways. Hiccup and Ruby are similar in some ways.
Ruby is the one that's Red Riding Hood, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason I would say they're similar is because they're both leaders, and they're both trying to get into that role of being leader. Ruby's definitely not great at being a leader at first, but she does over time settle into that role and become a good leader, similar to how Hiccup does as well. And they're also both very mechanically minded. Ruby, within this world, is fascinated with weapons and seeing other people's weapons and designs, and similar to how Hiccup is very mechanically minded himself and coming up with new and interesting inventions and things that, to play around with and tinker with, essentially.
Okay.
Looking at Fish Legs, I would say in some ways he's very similar to Blake. They both love to read and enjoy reading books.
Which is the other 3?
She is the black-haired girl wearing a ribbon on top of her head.
Okay.
I'd be very curious to hear, since you've never seen the show, your reaction to what's revealed later about her, but we won't get into that. But Blake Belladonna is her name, and if you're curious, she's referenced to not Sleeping Beauty, but The Beauty and the Beast is what she's a reference to.
Oh. Is she a reference to the Beauty or to the Beast? Because based on what you told me, I could... Oh. If you told me the Beast, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest.
No, you'll catch on very quick as to why. But again, her last name.
Let me guess. The girl in the white dress is supposed to be Snow White.
Yes, or a reference to another different fairy tale that I cannot remember the name of to save my life as of right now. But yes,
but Fish Legs will be that girl with the black hair.
Yes. One, because they both enjoy books and love to read, and 2, because they're very passionate about the things they enjoy. And for Fish Legs, that being dragons, he's extremely passionate about it, and she has a thing that she cares passionately about as well. That, again, I'm not going to spoil. That would spoil some, so I'm not going to say too much on as to what, but I would link those 2 characters. One, because they're both passionate, they both love to read, they're both more intellectual, and they're both try and avoid violence in certain situations if they can. And so I would say that's why those 2 characters are linked.
Okay.
Looking at Astrid. Astrid is a bit of 2 characters in this regard. One, I would say she's very similar to Yang, the blonde girl. They're very much both. They're both fighters. They're both very much would kind of go in guns blazing, if you will, not necessarily asking too many questions or trying to really figure out what they need to do. They just already know, and they already know exactly what it is they need and want to do, and that's what they're going for, and that's where they're heading in for. And but I would also link Astrid a bit to Weiss, the white-haired girl. And that's why, and the reason that is because, again, Weiss is someone who's very driven. She knows exactly what it is she wants to do. She knows exactly it is what she wants, and she knows exactly what it is she wants to achieve. Similar to Astrid in some regard. Like Astrid knows who she is, what she wants, and what she wants to do.
Okay.
For the twins, I would see them a bit in another character who's a bit of a side character. Her name is Nora. She's very much a little crazy in some regards, kind of destructive. So I could definitely see the twins and Nora because of, the twins are definitely crazy, definitely destructive. Nora's not that destructive, but I mean, she uses a grenade launcher as a part of her weapon built into a hammer. So definitely the twins. Definitely something the twins would enjoy, I'm sure. I could also see a bit of rough in Yang, though, in how Yang is very much go with the flow. I don't necessarily care what's going on too much. I'm not worried about it. I'm just following kind of everyone else's lead. Rough is definitely the same way in that regard, I feel.
Okay. So, anything else?
I would say that's about it. Like, definitely check out RWBY. I think people will enjoy it. I can't recommend the show.
I'm going back to night school for a second because there are two casting choices I forgot to mention, and I blame my notes not working. But anyway, so back to night school. I will cast Valka as Ellie's brother because Hiccup, for all intents and purposes, seems to be more influenced from his mother than his father, and. Valka also sent him that baby dragon doll that we saw next to the edge. So you can tell that he's taking a lot more from the mother, even though she wasn't around. And it's kind of a similar thing here because Ellie was very connected to her brother, and the reason she pretty much went rogue and started being a troublemaker is because her brother ran away for no apparent reason when she became a teen. So, that's kind of, and we find out later what happened to him. So that's kind of a thing, like with Valka, that they mention her, but we find out what happened to her a lot later in the timeline. So that's one that I forgot. And the second thing I forgot, I would cast both twins as a character named Zoe, which is one of Ellie's classmates. The reason I'll do that is because both of them have this idea that they always say the wrong thing at the wrong time, and which is usually played for comedic purposes. The only difference I will say is that the twins are doing it because they're really dumb, but Zoe will do it because she just doesn't get the concept of morality. Like she's very antisocial in terms of she doesn't really get human feelings. So and that's the end of my night school casting. That's it. I promise, no more, never again. So you just did a TV show, so it's my turn to do a TV show. I chose the CBS show Zoo, which is currently about to end its third season and presumably the last one. I don't think it will be renewed, but anyway, it's about an alternate universe of Earth where animals have gone crazy and are trying to kill. And every animal became a human killer, even dogs and cats, which were friendly to humans. The animals suddenly turn on humanity, and a group of people are trying to reverse the effects and save the animals and mankind in the process. So Hiccup will be the vet of the group called Mitch Morgan. Pretty much, again, pretty simple because, like I said, Mitch in the show is a vet, so he's already very well aware of animals and how they work, what each animal behaves like, thinks like, and is usually the go-to guy with these kind of situations. And also he tries not to be too violent to the animals, kind of like Hiccup doesn't want to hurt the dragons. Like if he could minimize the damage caused to the dragons, he will take that option, as we saw in the last season, actually.
Yeah.
So there's that, and second of all, again, because Mitch is a vet and he's very aware of each animal's properties. Hiccup as well knows about all this kind of all the properties of all the different dragons and what are the weaknesses of this one and what are the strengths of that one. And again, pretty similar. And of course, the grounding achievement, the sarcasm.
As always.
So, yeah, in this one it's very like there's a character in the show whose last name is Oz. Okay, so the bad guys come up to this Mitch guy and they ask him, where is Oz? And he tells them, well, if you considered walking down the yellow brick road, I think you'll find him at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that sounds like if Hiccup existed in the modern world, he will probably use it in the same time. But anyway, next up we have Astrid as a character named Dariella. She's a Robbie Ranger. Need I say more? Fishlegs will be a character named Abraham Kenyetta, or Abe for short. Main reason, both of them are smart, then both of them are the big teddy bear guys who may be massive in size, but they've got the heart of gold.
Mm-hmm.
And let me think, there's probably someone I forget. I had it, and I lost it. What was it? You know what, whatever, that's it. You have a game next, right?
I do.
Okay, so go on ahead. What game do you have for it?
I chose Breath of the Wild specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Simply because I think there's a lot of really fun characters in this one that can definitely be linked to some of the characters from How to Train Your Dragon.
I see what you did there. Linked.
Mm-hmm. Funny. Haha.
Hey, it's your bad joke, not mine.
I know. But you didn't have to point it out. You could have just left that slide in there.
You know I couldn't. It's the Berkcast.
Well, looking at some of the characters for this one, I'm going to say we'll start off with Link specifically. And I would say Link is very similar to, again, Astrid, not Hiccup, surprisingly, I know. And that's solely because I would say, unlike Hiccup, Link, and more so in my mind, very much like Astrid, Link knows who he is. He knows what he needs to do. He knows what he wants, especially in this particular game. And he knows what he needs to do to achieve that. Very similar to Astrid, she knows who she is. She knows where her place is and what she wants to do and what she needs to do to achieve that. They're very driven and they're very purpose-filled. You know, they have their goals, they have their purpose, and they're very driven towards that. I would say Hiccup is very much more so similar to Zelda in this particular game. And that's simply because, very much like Hiccup, she doesn't know her purpose. She's not very sure of her purpose. She very much questions her role and her purpose and what she needs to do to achieve that. She wants to achieve it, just like Hiccup wants to achieve what he wants to do, but he's not sure of how to go about it. Neither of them are. And also, they both fail in some ways, in some regards, trying to do what they think others want them to do and be the people that others think they need to be, or that they think they need to be to get that admiration and respect and love of those they want to get it from. They both fail in that regard. And through that failure, they end up finding, well, I don't need to be doing it the way they think I should, or the way they would expect me to do it. I need to do it my way. So I would say those two characters are very similar in that respect. And also they're very much both characters are nerdy as well in their own rights and ways. So that's always, that's definitely a link right there. Looking at Snotlout, I would say...
Let me guess, the eagle.
What?
You're going to cast him as the eagle in Breath of the Wild?
Absolutely. Rivali, yes. Yeah, I would definitely say...
From the few cutscenes I did watch from the game, it was really obvious.
He definitely gives off a Snotlout vibe, being that he's very much competitive and doesn't necessarily appreciate or like Link. Now, I understand in this regard, Link isn't Hiccup, but still yet he's very, competitive. He very much is disingenuous and doesn't necessarily like the competition, and he also thinks that Link's in specifically is somewhat below him. Mm-hmm. But when push comes to shove, they do work well with one another, and they both have the same goal and want to achieve the same thing. And when push comes to shove, they're more than happy and willing to work with one another, as well as the fact they both end up with this somewhat begrudging respect for one another, the same way I would say Hiccup and Snotlout have a respect for one another, even if they don't necessarily always get along. They know how to work together, and they both want to achieve the same goal most of the time. Mm-hmm. Looking at the twins, I would say a character called Daruk, the Goron, is very much similar to the twins in the fact that he's fairly laid back for the most part. But the thing that I would say links him the most is when it comes to a fight, he's very much energetic and chaotic, and he kind of revels in all that chaos that would ensue in a fight, and just the kind of destruction from it as well. So I would say that's definitely puts me in the mind of the twins. They may not necessarily go out of their way to get in a fight, but they definitely kind of revel in all of that chaos and just the general uproar that can come from it. I would say tough specifically, maybe. I would also say maybe even a bit of Dagger in Daruk as well. Again, because of that kind of chaos and just the love of fighting in general.
That could work.
Looking at Fishlegs, I would link him to the Zora, Mifa, simply because they're both very, again, passionate and caring, and they want to achieve the same goals, but they're not necessarily very fond of fighting. They do it if they have to, but they're going to find other ways if at all possible. Mm-hmm. And looking at specifically Ruff, I would definitely see a little bit of her in the Gerudo Urbosa. And the reason I would say that is because Ruff, in some ways, is very much... She loves to, like her brother Tough, they both love to play jokes and pranks. And this character definitely loves to kind of mess with Zelda in some ways and mess with Link in some ways as well. And I would definitely see Ruff in this character. Very strong, very adamant, but also very much a bit of a jokester.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And there you have it.
If I could just say one thing about casting a How to Train Dragon character as a Zelda character in general, not just Breath of the Wild, I will cast Johan as the salesman for Majora's Mask who sells Link the mask. The guy with a weird smile.
Oh dear. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The happy mask salesman.
Yeah. Or as one of my favorite internet reviewers called him, Mr. Smiles.
Mm-hmm. He could definitely work before he went evil. Although This happy mask salesman maybe.
He outright strangles Link once he told him he lost his mask. You told me that's not evil. You know what?
Lapse in judgment.
At the end of the game, where Link is like in that kind of a dream state, I think, where all the kids there have that salesman's face. Can you imagine going into like this nirvana and everyone has Trader Johan's face? Here's your nightmare fuel for the night, folks.
Trader Johann surround you.
Okay, once again, this is becoming very embarrassing. I'm going back to Zoo for a second because I forgot one thing. I would cast Heather as a character named Jamie. Now, Jamie in the Zoo continuity, she is a reporter who kind of gets into the entire thing by accident. And the thing is that at the beginning, she's very, I don't want to say naive because she's very smart and very resourceful and stuff, but you know, she kind of has her own motives, like kind of like Heather did at the beginning, and also Heather was kind of in for the bad guys, and that Jamie also worked for like an organization which was pretty much the bad guys as well at one point, and then she quit them. But the thing that matters the most is that between season 2 and season 3 of Zoo, Jamie went did a completely 180. She all of a sudden became this badass warrior who will stop at nothing, and she like has these very convoluted and complicated plans that I will betray this so I could get this, and then they will forgive me, and then I'll do this. And she kind of reminded me of the change she went through from Riders to Race to the Edge. Like, she was a pretty much a different character, same person, but you can tell that she was upgraded, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. Next one. Well, you did game, so I guess I'll get my game category out of the way. I chose Kingdom Hearts. Now, let's ignore the fact that it's Disney and DreamWorks and it doesn't go together, even though Chris Sanders is in the Kingdom Hearts series, he's still voicing Stitch there. Let's go over this. So, I'm sorry to be the obvious guy here, but Hiccup will probably be Sora. It makes the most sense. But Snorlax will be Riku, because, you know, they're both of them are like the I know the best, or my way is the best. So who is this? Both of them also has this kind of like, they're not necessarily enemies, but
they're both good friends. And they both care about one another, and they both care about what's best for their other friends.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're still competitive with one another, and they still don't necessarily agree on everything either.
Yeah, you know, for example, I used the episode in the Riders where Santa tells Hiccup, it's not the leg I have a problem with, it's everything attached to that leg. Like, a lot of times after Riku sees that Sora has the Keyblade, he kind of has that mindset as well that, well, you have the Keyblade, it probably means I don't like you all that much. But again, they have this rivalry relationship, which is why I am casted Snorlax as Riku. I won't necessarily put Astrid as Kairi because Kairi is boring.
Ouch.
Yeah. But let's think about this. We know Astrid for the fact that she's headstrong and she fights for. How many times have we seen Kairi fight in the damn franchise? I'll tell you how long. For 2 seconds.
It was definitely towards the end of the second game, but yeah.
Yeah. It's like, this time I will fight. Swings Keyblade for 2 seconds. That counts as fighting, apparently.
She's very much been a sideline character.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but joking aside, I will say I will cast Valka as Aqua from Bird by Sleep, because both of them had, like, at the end of Bird by Sleep, and especially throughout the entire mini campaign in Kingdom Hearts 2.8, 2000 played it, both of them have been gone from the main cast for a while, and you know, yeah, pretty much it. They've been away, but they kind of fought to come back, but they had the reasons to stay behind, pretty much. I don't know. Something about linking those two characters connected with me. Mm-hmm. And also, I think it's in Bound by Sleep, there's the scene where she pretty much passes the torch to the young Sora and Riku. So again, kind of like how Valka planted the seeds to Hiccup becoming the dragon trainer that he is, in a sense.
Yeah.
There's that. And let me think. I will cast Dagger as Axel. You want my reason? Here's my reason. Mm-hmm. Both of them are fan popular characters who were supposed to die, and but because they were so popular, they came back.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Do I need another reason? No, I don't.
Both probably a little bit crazy too.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if I'll say Axel is crazy. Axel is a ham. Not crazy, he's a ham a lot of times.
All right.
You really do remember me this time. I'm so flattered. Great line. It's so cheesy, but I love it. Mm-hmm. The performance is amazing. Let me think about... if we cast as the Disney characters, I think to be honest, Stuik will be Mickey. Stuik will be Mickey. Garber will be Goofy.
I just want people to imagine for a second Mickey Mouse's voice as Stoic. In any of the How to Train Your Dragon movies, just imagine that. Just get that thought in your head.
Let's talk about that dragon.
Just imagine that voice coming out of Stoic in any of the movies. Enjoy.
This is all a hiccup. I must prepare you for war.
Just enjoy.
You know what? Let's just make this the rest of this episode Stoic was with Mickey Mouse's voice. You know what? Let me just think of something. Wow, a Stoic quote that I love.
Oh dear. You don't have to do it, HC.
I don't have to. I want to.
Oh no. That's even worse.
You know what? I have nothing. Maybe later. I have nothing. But yeah, like I said, Stoic will be Mickey, Gabba would be Goofy, and Spitelet would be Donald. What?
Nothing.
Because it sounded like you were mumbling something.
If they hear it in the recording, that's a joke between me and the audience. If they don't hear it, well, it was missed.
Okay. It's not about me, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So like I said, Gabba will be Goofy because, he's the king's captain, so Stoic second in command. And Spitelet will be Donald because they're both really grumpy.
Has nothing to do with the fact that Spitelet's now voicing Donald, or Scrooge McDuck at least anyways.
Actually, no, it has nothing to do with this. It just fit. It just fit. It doesn't have any. because I don't know, the magician doesn't. Is Donald a magician or a wizard? I'm not sure.
A wizard.
Let's say
he
wizard.
plays the role of a caster in that game. Yeah.
Yeah, because at the Disney castle as well, like Goofy is the captain of the guard and Donald is the wizard. So I don't know. For some reason, it fits more with the characters. I don't see Gobber being Donald. You know what I mean?
Well, Spotlight questions Stoic a lot, and I would say Donald definitely questions Mickey's choices a lot as well. So it definitely works out in that regard.
And also it's not true for Spotlight and Stoic, but everyone pretty much questions like why Mickey Mouse is the mascot for Disney. Donald is the more interesting one, if you ask me.
Because Mickey's king.
Anyway, back to the OC Kingdom Hearts characters, let's call them that. I think... Let me think about this. I had something. Xenahort, Xemnas, whoever the main bad guy is.
Xehanort. Or
Xemnas. Yeah, Xehanort is the main guy. Xemnas is the nobody, and
if you haven't figured it out,
I don't know.
This is definitely an out there.
This is confusing. If I may quote some from Johnny, Jesus, fuck anime. But anyway, the main bad guy will probably be Drago or Vigo. You know what? I'll say Vigo because his plans are so freaking complicated. Let's put him as Vigo. Let's make him Vigo, and yeah, that's it. That's How to Train a Dragon as Kingdom Hearts characters.
We've done it, ladies and gentlemen. We have linked Disney and DreamWorks.
Dude, I don't want to repeat my rant from the fanfiction episode. We saw what happens when you link DreamWorks and Disney. We know. I, for the most part, get angry when that happens. For the most part. Not always. But anyway, we only have a movie left, so I'll make this short. The movie I chose was 10 Things I Most Hate About You. It's a romantic comedy high school movie.
An odd choice.
Now, to be honest, I'm cheating a bit here because long ago I read this fan fiction, which was pretty much the 10 Things I Most Hate About You movie, but with DreamWorks and Disney characters. And I just think that the casting of Hiccup was the best, so I went with it. So Hiccup would be the guy who shows the new kid at school around and eventually helps the main kid get the girl, in a sense. Like the one that schemes the plan.
Yeah.
That will be Hiccup. And the new guy at school will probably be Fish Legs because he's knowledgeable, he's dorky, so let's give it to Fish Legs. In terms of the sisters, Astrid will be the main girl, like the older sister, while Heta will be the youngest one. And I based that choice on their talk in the rest of the season 1 episode where they both talk about men. Astrid is very careful when she's talking about dating, like she refers to Hiccup and herself as just friends, while Heather is like all the time say, I think I'm into Fish Legs. Like you can tell that Heather is more open to dating than Astrid in that specific conversation. So again, it matched with the two sisters. The guy who eventually was the older sister, I'll make him Dagger because they're both the nuts of the school. Both of them are absolutely nuts. And also the guy was played by Heath Ledger, and I don't need to tell you what other role he did. And you tell me you don't see Dagger as the Joker.
Sure.
You see
can work.
You know you do.
It can work.
Let me think if there's anything else. Snottle will probably be the guy who wants to get the young sister, but the usual jerk, I guess, because that's what he is. And Toughnut will be one of his sidekicks, I guess.
All right.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. We put the How to Train Your Dragon characters in other franchises. Did you agree? Did you not agree? In what movie, TV show, game, book, whatever, would you put the How to Train Your Dragon characters in? And what roles would they fill? If you want to tell us about that, you can do that on the comment section on our Tumblr, where we are Berkcast team, and on Twitter we are Berkcast with capital B, capital C, and. Yeah, and you can also find us on the Berk Fanboy forums. So we hope you enjoyed. It was definitely a weird episode, but I enjoyed it.
A fun one. A side episode that we can do for fun. We always enjoy doing these every now and again. Something different.
Yeah. So until next time, I was HC.
And I've been Wolf.
And we will talk to you all next time. Take care.
Bye-bye.